So about 5 or 6 years ago, when simulator golf started to become a really popular thing, started playing a lot of simulator golf, get better during the winter time. I think that I did anyways. When you play putting with those things, it's a 6-foot gimme. That's what you can set it to, 6 foot, 10 foot, 12 foot, whatever. And I started to notice my score started to go down, obviously, because they're giving you six-foot putts. So you start to dive into the statistics a little more. And what you find out, make sure my mic is on still. Okay. What you find out is that the percentage of putts made for tour pros, scratch players, bogey golfers, guys who can't break 110, they're pretty close between 1 foot and 6 foot as far as the differences in those percentages. They start to drop off like this once you get above 6 feet. So, for example, a tour pro, they're going to make 98 or 99% of their 3-foot putts, about 95% of their 4-foot putts. I think they're at like 87 or 88 from 5 feet. It might be a bit lower. They're at like 70% from 6 feet. And then they get down to the 50-50 mark at about 7.5 feet. Don't quote me on those. I kind of remember that's where they were. And that's the same across the board for every kind of player. Obviously, bogey golfers don't make that high of a percentage, but those percentages are close. So the theory that I like to use, and it's a drill that I like to give my students, and I do myself a lot, is I'll try and simulate pressure by putting 6 balls down around a hole. My goal is I have to make 4 out of the first 5, and then I have to make the 6th putt. Back when I was younger and a little bit more energetic, I would have to do that, and if I didn't do it, I had to go to the side of the putting green and do 10 push-ups. That's simulated pressure. So now when I play tournament golf, I have something to kind of relate to, and something to I have a practice that I can apply to my tournaments now. You don't have to do that. You can just make it as simple as I can't move on to my next subject without doing that. But what I want you doing, I'm not going to do all 6. I'll just do a few of them here. We lay 6 balls down across a hole around like this from about the 5 or 6 foot mark, and I have to go through my routine as I normally would and put the pressure on myself that I have to make 4 out of the first 5, and then I have to make that 6th putt. Once you get to that 6th putt, you're going to have a lot of pressure because you don't want to do it over, or you don't want to do 10 push-ups on the side of the putting green and see 50 people staring at you like, what is this guy doing? So that's a part of the game that we don't practice, but I believe that we can get the most strokes shaved off of our game. Once we get good at putts like this, it takes a little bit of pressure off of our chipping, because now we don't feel as much pressure that we need to chip it every time to tap in distance. So now if we get a little bit better at chipping, get a little bit more confident, now we're going to not feel as much pressure to hit every iron and wedge shot really tight every time. We can miss a green and still make pars. Once we take some pressure off of our full swing, that takes some pressure off of our tee shots now. So starting here kind of bleeds up into the rest of your game. The other stat is people will tend to have more 3 putts after 25 feet. Those percentages start to go up too. So kind of another way to use stats and to look at stats to get the most out of your practice and save the most shots. So I hope that helps. I want to see you guys practicing that, and let me know